Well, good day. This is Chuck Cameron with Jack Curtis, a good friend here at the township offices. If you haven't been here, you ought to come by. It's a wonderful place. And the view from the top is a program. We're going to do this probably quarterly to give you a sense to hear some of the things that our leaders are up to, the challenges they face. And today, Jack, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us about the challenges that you see from your viewpoint as a township supervisor that you're going to face in 2025. Let's talk about that. Where do you want to start? Challenges that you're going to face and we're going to face.
Challenges in 2025 are, number one is just after this election, we've got new members on our township board.
Sure.
You have two new members, Jeffrey Amvet and David Wagner, who are elected to the board. What that means is they have to learn the whole process. The MTA, Michigan Townships Association, does offer training for that.
Is there? Yeah.
But every bit of information and knowledge we've lost with the two other candidates that were out there all has to be relearned, and you have to kind of streamline the new ones into the way that things should operate or must operate.
If I was a newly elected township board member, how could I learn? I mean, what tools are available for these folks to sort of catch up on the years of knowledge that others have that they're coming in kind of green?
Number one, they can come in and sit down and talk to me.
Okay, got it.
I can bring them up to speed on a lot of the challenges we have today. You can sit down with the other elected officials or shadow one of the other trustees and just talk from their experience. Secondly, the Michigan Townships Association does offer a new trustee seminar, whether in person or Zoom. You can do either one, but it gives you how Michigan Townships are supposed to be run.
Got it.
What it doesn't teach you is the nuances of each community and its residents.
So getting up to speed, getting the folks who are new and responsible now on the township board up to speed, that will be a challenge. One challenge that will be faced in 25. How about something else? Anything else that comes to mind that you and the team will be wrestling with this year?
We always wrestle with the budget.
Yes, sir.
And new for 2025, I don't know if everybody's aware of it or not, but our Board of Commissioners at Oakland County surprised us with an increase in our policing budget. Frugal and fiscally responsible Oxford was able to take the hit, if you will. Yep. Our commissioner, Mike Spiz, has battled and fought to keep those costs down, as well as our sheriff, but the Board of Commissioners has just dumped this on us at the last minute. So it's a challenge, but we're ready. We met the challenge and we're moving forward.
Now, would I be right to say this? I want to be sure I understand what you're saying. The township folks are saying that the county is saying we as a township will have to pay more for the policing services that the Sheriff's Department provides for us. Is that correct?
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
There are 12 municipalities in Michigan, or in Oakland County, that are serviced by the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. And during the county commissioners set those rates for a deputy on patrol, a sergeant, and those kind of things with them. Our rate was increased by over $500,000. So we met the challenge. We've streamlined. We've made some changes with deputies. We've not added 3 like we're supposed to. But what we've done is we've creatively split shifts on some of the guys and made them floaters, if you will. Yeah. They come in at 10 o'clock and work 8 hours, and then the next one comes in at 7 and works 8 hours. It's not a midnight, it's not an afternoons, it's not a day, it's a swing. Okay. So we've been able to provide the service and maintain the cost level to the residents.
Thinking again about me, that'd be a bit of a challenge to the officer who's got to do this shift and then that shift and the other shift because, well, frankly, you've only have so much money you can pay.
Yes. So to that, we've been frugal and fiscally responsible. We've been able to manage those funds to get us out in the next couple years. And it's tough, but we just had to bite the bullet and do the work. was
funny
a
how
challenge.
if you've only got so much to spend, then you've only got that much to spend.
Right.
And you don't have any gold bullion in the basement?
No, we don't.
No
We
gold
don't.
bullion. All right.
No, we
All right.
don't.
Remember that. No gold bullion in the basement.
None. Zero. No doubloons hidden in the chest.
Right.
Us in this township, teaching the new trustees, it's hard because, we do have money, but it's residents' money.
Yeah.
And our challenge is to maintain our spending level. Yep. The operation of this township is done with 0.8843 of a mil. That's not even 1 mil of taxation that runs this township, that does elections, does assessing, does all of what we do here.
Pays for the patrolling too.
Yes, it's all included in there that we have so much money and we can't do a bunch of things.
Without detail, what's the big number here? What's the township budget for 2025? What's the bottom number? How many bazillion dollars are we through you going to be spending for the services we get?
That's a tough one, Chuck, because what we have is different accounts.
Okay.
You have your general fund, which we operate out of to do these things.
Okay.
You have your fire fund. All of these are budgets, so if I had to total them all up, I couldn't even guess right now. But we have NOTA that we have a budget for. Yeah. We have OCTV's budget that we are watching over. We have Parks and Rec budget that we watch. Right. We have, I can go through water and sewer budgets and safety path budgets and all these. But to give you a total answer, it's probably the general operating 1 mil on $1 billion. That's probably $10 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think for those who watch too, your point that you just made is pretty profound. There are all kinds of different boxes of services that are provided, and each of those have to be managed and watched out and funded and reviewed to make sure that the service is up to snuff.
Some are enterprise funds. Right. Those funds are like your water, your sewer, where you bill people to pay off bonds. You bill the residents to pay the sewer flow rates down to Detroit. Then there are millage funds like your police, fire, Parks and Rec debt fund, those kind of things. So to add all those budgets up, I could tell you it's a lot of money, but each department manager, like the Parks and Rec, like OCTV, Brian over at the library, we all are responsible for our own budgets.
Got it.
So it's, I think I'm about $10 million in revenue that I have to do everything we do in the township.
So we bless you and the team here for the really good work. I mean, it's a great place to live. I'm ridiculously biased about living here, but it's a great place to live.
It really is. We have a lot of generous businesses in town to try to help us fund. We have a great communications and grants manager. We just received $70,000 from the Sinise Fund to complete a fire training tower. So we challenge our grants manager to get those grants. We ask our business people to help with projects in the town. You know, no tax dollars were spent on the Helen Smith Park out here.
Looks good.
The boulder was donated. Somebody else donated putting it in. All of the equipment was bought through donations and grants. But you look out here in the summer, even in the winter, people pull up here and their kids are all over this park. We funded a drinking fountain through donations, and now there's a dog and human drinking fountain out front. Yeah, so it's a lot of we call it entrepreneurism without hitting the residents for tax dollars.
Now, you said something when we were talking offline that I thought it would be important for us to kind of tie up with a bow this discussion. And thank you for your time, by the way.
Oh.
You mentioned that there are a lot of committees that the board is involved with that residents could be involved with as well to get their voice heard in a committee level, and also maybe to get into the meetings here and have their voices. Is there anything you would like to say about that?
Well, you know, every Wednesday night at 6:30, or I'm sorry, every second Wednesday of the month, our board meeting is held. We have 2 times for public comment.
Right.
One, we can't talk to you, we can take that. But right after that, we have commissioners' comments, and we try to answer the questions because we can't violate an Open Meetings Act. And then at the end, we take any comments, and then again, we'll try to address them, but we can't have a dialogue during the meeting. We do listen to them. We take those comments from the residents and try to work on those situations. The committees and commissions, I've replaced 3 planning commissioners this year.
Okay.
We just got 2 on, and 1 more is coming. But they set the parameters for the master plan and how the township is developed.
Okay.
So we always look for them. You can go on our website, apply for anything. You can come in person, call me direct.
Yeah.
You can come in and visit us. We're open all the time. I'm here most of the time if I'm not out trying to get something done.
Yep.
But
What committees exist? So the folks have an idea, well, hey, that sounds interesting, or oh, I wouldn't want to do that, but I might want to do that. What committees exist?
well, you know, some of the things, the biggest thing is the planning commission.
Okay.
The planning commission sets the master plan. The planning commission does reviews for site plans for developments that come to town. We have the elections committee. You can get on the committee for verifying our election stuff. When I say stuff, it's all encompassing of checking the validation of the machines, checking and making sure the accuracy of the count before it's submitted. And these committees of the tax tribunal.
Okay.
We do board of review. If you don't want to, if you have an issue with what you're paying in your taxes, board of review will review it, and we have 4 residents on that committee. So there are many. I'd offer us to go to our website and look for them, turn in an application, and just say, hey, I want to do this, and we'll find a committee for you, and
Excellent.
we'll find somewhere to slide a volunteer in.
That sounds
We do get we hear a lot of negative comments, and that's human nature. I want this fixed. I pay my taxes. What we don't hear is, hey, let me help you solve the problem. Hey, can I help you get this done? If we had more of that, it'd be easier.
It would be easier. So that,
Yes.
I'm sensing that might be, from all the stuff you talked about, that might be the biggest challenge that I would make to you all who are watching and listening, and me. I'll include me always. If we've got concerns or ideas or frustrations or schemes that we think our leaders should know about, instead of sitting there with your thumbs on Facebook or whatever, volunteer to help.
Yeah.
Raise your hand and say, look, I would be glad to do something rather than sit around and complain to my neighbors about it, because complaining never does any good. Being involved, sometimes you can make things happen. Is that fair?
Township government is not political.
Yeah.
I'm non-biased. Yeah, you know, I'm not red, I'm not blue.
Yeah.
I work for the residents. So don't think that we're out here trying to campaign for the president. Number one, you can't campaign on the job. Our job is to complete tasks that are required in the community.
Got it.
Fiscally responsible.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate all the work you and the team do, and we thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time. Jack, thanks for you.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right.
So for Jack, it's Chuck saying, stay tuned. We've got more to come on View from the Top. Okay, back in the township offices, Curtis Wright has given us a few minutes. Curtis, thank you again. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
You're welcome.
We appreciate all the hard work that goes into the stuff behind the scenes that help us get good service from the township. Great place to live. Could you give us an idea of some of the challenges that your department is facing in 25? You mentioned before that the elections, with the election behind us, that's a bit of a relief for you, and you're kind of getting back into the normal thing. What was it like to get through the election? What's it like to get back into the normal flow of things for you and your department?
Well, it's a gradual get back to what you were doing before election started, but you know, it's a labor and time intense exercise going through an election, and now that that's over, you know, we're basically operating as we would do without an election. There's more time for us to get back to doing what we usually do. And some of the things that I want to accomplish in 2025 is trying to get more organized in my department. And some of that's based upon the reconstruction of the lower level for the Sheriff's Department expansion, because we have a lot of documents that we pulled out of downstairs that are required by me to retain. We put them out in storage units out in the parking lot behind the township office. And before I pull those back in, I want to go through those to see whether or not I need to save them, or whether I can destroy them and create more storage and more efficiency for retention of documents.
Will the Sheriff's Department then, you mentioned that, I want to understand it, will they be taking more of the space downstairs, or will they be?
Let's just say they'll be taking all of the space, except for what's underneath here.
Got it. So there's no more space left for whatever storage you have down there.
There is, because as I speak, underneath this room here is the actual area that was left for the building, the treasurer, the clerk's department, and we're going to be putting down there. The plan is to put in the absent voter counting board for the ballots and for the elections going forward.
Got it. That's where the election stuff gets stashed eventually, or will.
It will.
After we got, okay.
Yeah, because right now it's upstairs, locked away. Because it's just.
So what do you do with all these documents? You must have unimaginable amounts of paperwork and documents. Are there rules for how long you have to keep them, and how do you get rid of the same stuff we all go through? How do I have to keep it, and how can I get rid of it properly? How do you face that?
Yeah, well, we go by retention schedules.
Okay.
They're established by the state of Michigan. Right. We adopt those by the Township Board of Trustees, and it's basically like your guide to say you can keep this document or you can destroy it. And usually the rule of thumb is about a 7-year period, depending on what it is. I mean, some things are permanent, like your Township Board minutes, things like that, insurance certificates. But if it's like an email correspondence that once the issue that's been talked about is completed, then you can go ahead and destroy it. But we do have thousands of documents. My office, you can go look at it for a testimony.
Yep.
It's not how I like to live, but it's how I live as far as where things are scattered about. But
it's crazy here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But other than that, we're back to writing out checks for people, registering voters, selling graves. If somebody wants to buy one of those, just going with the financial statements that we do, insurance on a regular basis for the health insurance, the liability, workers' comp insurance,
Jack mentioned that same thing earlier, that if people have ideas, it's often to come and complain about things that they don't like, and that's a public forum, it's okay, but you'd be willing to take some good ideas that might make things better too, as well as complaints.
Sure,
right?
Sure. Help me to do my job better.
Excellent.
If there's something you don't like, then if I don't hear from you, then I figure everything is on the okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say as a citizen first, and then OCTV second, we appreciate all the work that you and your team do to make things seem seamless, because we don't see any of the 1,000 things. It's like the duck that's looking very calm on the surface and the feet are going like crazy underneath. We thank you for your time and the work your team does.
And it's like an iceberg.
Yep.
You see 10% of the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're the iceberg master. We thank you again for taking time.
Yeah,
for us
this is actually pretty fun. Once you get settled in and go, and then you're able to hopefully broadcast it out to people, and
we will,
and see if it catches any traction.
All right. You heard it first. If you have ideas or complaints or frustrations, or just want to talk to Curtis about the things that the clerk's office does, instead of wondering, just give him a call or go use your phone, use your thumbs. It's the only way we learn is to talk to real people. So thank you, Curtis. I appreciate your time.
You too, Chuck. Right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
For Curtis, this is Chuck saying stay tuned. There's more to come. View from the Top continues. I'm still in the township offices with CJ Carnacchio. CJ, thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thanks for taking the time to speak with me.
CJ is responsible for communication and grants within our amazing township.
Yes.
And CJ, I understand you've got some things that you're working on. Could you bring us up to speed on the latest projects that you're kind of focused on?
Sure thing. Well, I've got two things that I announced at last week's Township Board meeting.
Right.
One is I've created and launched an Oxford Township Historical Marker Program.
Excellent.
Last month I was talking with Trustee Rod Charles on our board, and we're talking about helping promote the history of downtown Oxford, and I was talking with him about my willingness to help the DDA on that project. But after talking with him, I got to thinking about Oxford's history isn't just confined to downtown Oxford or the village. There's a lot of history throughout our township. Our township's 36 square miles. So after thinking about that, and I decided to launch a historical marker program where basically I've selected 16 potential sites and subjects throughout the township. And the goal, and these sites are all represent or connected to people, places, structures, events that are significant in terms of Oxford's heritage.
Got it.
The goals of this program are to promote local history and educate future generations, show that not all of Oxford's history is confined to a single area, and encourage residents and visitors to explore the entire community.
You mean there's more than M24?
Exactly.
I see.
So each site is going to have a large boulder, which is going to be donated. I'm working on getting those donated by our local gravel companies. And each boulder is going to have a 16-inch wide, 20-inch high bronze plaque.
Nice.
And these plaques are going to contain either 1 or 2 images taken from vintage photos. They can turn the old photos into like these bronze relief images. A narrative text on the subject that I've written. And also we're going to have stickers with a QR code that's going to be attached to a web page where people can get more information on local history. And my vision is to have a map where all these markers are and some existing other historic sites that aren't part of this. But I chose boulders because of Oxford's historic connection to the gravel industry.
Absolutely.
For decades. We're the gravel capital of the world.
Plus, it shouldn't be too tough to get boulders given the
No,
folks
not
who
at all.
have businesses around here.
Not at all. And using a combination of stone and metal for these markers. It's classic, it's timeless, and it's consistent with markers we already have in Seymour Lake Township Park and at Helen Smith Pocket Park here at the township. And my plan is to, I said, the boulders will be donated by the gravel companies, and the bronze plaques, I've been soliciting donations and searching for grants to pay for them. I've reached out to many organizations and individuals already over the last 2 weeks, and I'm proud to say that the funding for the first marker has already been completely secured. The Edward C. Levy Company, one of our gravel companies here in Oxford, they've agreed to donate the boulder and pay for the plaque, which is going to be placed in Stony Lake Park, commemorating Detroit Tiger Hall of Famer Ty Cobb's visits here in the early 1900s to go fishing at Stony Lake. And while Cobb was here, he was also enticed by some local businessmen to play baseball on behalf of the town's team a few times. He did that at least 3 times that I'm aware of, or that the newspapers talk about. So my plan is to, now that Edward C. Levy Company has graciously agreed to donate the boulder, pay for the plaque, we want to put it in Stony Lake Park, and I want to unveil it on April 4th, which is the Tigers' home opener.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I want to make a big deal about that, connect it to opening day, and not only Oxford's history, but Detroit history, tie it all in. And that's going to serve as the kind of the public kickoff for this program.
Excellent.
And I really want to thank Levy's director, Ruben Maxbauer. When I told him about this project, Ruben's always very enthusiastic, very supportive, and he did not hesitate to step up to the plate and say, yes, Edward C. Levy Company wants to kick off this program and wants to help out Oxford. They've always been there when we needed them.
They're good folks.
And if anyone else is thinking about donating, what I need is, if you want to sponsor one bronze plaque with 1 image on it, that's $3,185. And if you want a bronze plaque with 2 images, that's $3,835. And you can just reach out to me, again, CJ Carnacchio, Communications and Grants Manager. And you can either email me at the township or call me at 248-462-9997. And I'll be happy to talk with you about the program. And I'm going to try to get as many sponsorships as I can for these plaques. And then whatever I cannot find sponsorships for, I'm pursuing grant opportunities. So my goal is to have this all paid for through grants grants and donations.
So it wouldn't, if things go the way you aim for them to go, the township wouldn't have to be writing any checks to buy, buy a piece of rock.
Exactly. The stones and the plaques I want all paid for by donors and grants. So
May
that's
you be
my goal.
successful.
I hope so too. And my goal this year, now that we're going to have one, my goal is to at least get 4 on the ground this year. I mean, I feel that's a very doable given thing. So hopefully I'll be talking to you about 3 more this year.
Good.
And the other bit of good news I have is last week I secured a $70,566 grant from the Gary Sinise Foundation.
Yeah.
And this is on behalf of the Oxford Fire Department. And this is going to be used to purchase and erect a 3-story training tower on the fire station's main site here. 96 North Washington Street.
Excellent.
And basically, this tower is going to enable the firefighters to engage in realistic training. They'll be able to conduct a variety of exercises and drills, including search and rescue, confined spaces, high and low angle rope rescues, vertical ventilation, hose line advancement, ground and aerial lateral operations, and victim removal. So this tower is going to be about 17 feet tall, 40 feet long, 16 feet wide. There's interior training space of about 1,680 square feet. And the grant alone, this was the final, getting the Gary Sinise grant, which I'm very grateful, and I want to thank the Gary Sinise Foundation very much for agreeing to support our first responders and support our community. And this grant was the final piece of the puzzle we needed to afford this training tower. The township had previously secured $225,000 in contributions from 3 businesses: Frequency Wellness, Lifted Investments, and Curative LLC. I got a $5,000 grant from Enbridge, their Fueling Futures program, and a $2,500 donation from Benson Ford Jr. And then the fire department also sold a piece of land for $69,000, and that's being used. And then they're also putting in a little over $36,000 out of their budget for this project. But this $70,566 from Gary Sinise, this was the final thing we needed to get us over the finish line and be able to build it this year. That's the chief's goal. That's the plan. And not only is this tower going to be used by our firefighters, we're going to allow neighboring departments to use it with us, including Addison, Brandon, Oakland, Orion, Metamora. All these fire departments that already work together now, providing mutual aid. They're going to be able to train together, work together right here in Oxford.
Will it be in the front of the fire station grounds or behind?
Behind. Yeah, there's behind the fire station. There's plenty of land back there. The fire station itself sits on, I believe it's a 5.5 acre site. So they've got plenty of land to build it back there. And not only be used by our department, local departments, Oxford's Tower, the Northeast Oakland Fire Academy, which is funded and run by 11 departments, including Oxford, they train students free of charge to become state certified firefighters who can work in Oxford or anywhere in Michigan. So now the people who go through this academy will be able to use the training tower too. Excellent. And like last year, the fire academy last June, they graduated 30 new firefighters. So this is going to be a huge benefit to Oxford's fire department, to the fire departments around us, and to the fire industry in general, because who knows, someone who comes to the fire training academy, they could get a job here or they could get a job elsewhere in the state. So this is something that's really going to benefit us all. And again, I can't thank the Gary Sinise Foundation and Frequency Wellness, Lifted Investments, Curative, Enbridge, and Benson Ford Jr. enough for everybody coming together to make this project happen. It's going to improve our firefighters' performance. It's going to help them be safer. It's going to help them save lives, and it's going to make our township a safer place.
First of all, thanks for the update, because it seems to me that these are things that are both locally interesting and locally important. The second thing I think of is you just reviewed a whole lot of steps in these things that you've been involved in, and surely others have been involved in for a long time to pull all this stuff together. That's a lot of work.
Yes.
Do you have any, I mean, clearly it's your job, and it clearly from you describing it, it's your heart. Do you have any challenges getting in front of other people who eventually result in donations? Do you I mean, your communications and grants, those are two nice fits. Do you have any problems getting in front of them? How do you make those connections to eventually get that money?
Well, a lot of it involves, you do your research, you do your homework. You always got to be willing to talk to people, get out there. And a lot of the relationships and people that I get donations from, like with the Historical Marker Program, there's a lot of people I already know, organizations, people in town, businesses who are connected some of this history just from being here for 25 years. So I think the two keys are research and creating relationships, talking with people. And I'm fortunate, I'm a very good researcher after 20 years as a journalist prior to this.
You've got a little practice.
And also the relationships. I mean, I love talking to people, getting to know. And you never know, who you meet today you can help them tomorrow, or they can help you. So it's always good to maintain good contacts.
That whole networking thing really works, doesn't it?
Yeah, we all help each other. That's the bottom line.
Exactly. Well, CJ, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate the work you do for the township.
No, thank you.
And we appreciate all of you for watching this next edition of View from the Top. So till next time, we hope you're having a great day. Thank you, CJ.
All right. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate it.
Take care. Well, we hope you enjoyed this session of View from the Top. Till next time, Chuck Cameron, OCTV saying, we hope you have a very good day.